And greetings, kings and queens who are joining us today for another Always a Queen, the Metamorphosis live broadcast. Happy Sunday, everyone. Today is special for many reasons. One is that it is the last broadcast of 2022. So, this is the last time you will be seeing us live on this platform this year. I am flabbergasted at the fact that 2022 is already over. I literally do not know where the year went, but here we are. It's literally 14 days until 2023. So, get your business in order, right? Gather yourself, right? And the other reason why it is special is because today I am surrounded by some sister queens who are going to help me unpack what I think is going to be a super important topic today. And today, our topic is things we are leaving in 2022. It's a big deal, kings and queens. It's a big deal because this is closing season, right? This is closing season, and we want to close off well. We need to elevate in 2023, and in order to elevate, one must let go or release anything that is weighing one down. Things, people, habits, mindsets, whatever else you might be holding on to that is anchoring you to the ground. We are releasing it today. And so stay with us as we unpack, or rather, as Aisha said, not pack. Put the things in the bag and get rid of the bag instead of unpacking the bag. However, you want to look at it. That's what we're doing here today. So, let me give the queens an opportunity to greet our listeners, uh, viewers, and listeners. We'll start with you, Aisha. Greet the folks.
Greetings, everyone. Aisha here. I am in Mississippi. That's on one of my list things to put in the bag. We'll talk about that later. I am in Mississippi in the US. I am a birth worker. I am an ever evolving piece of work. And I'm really happy to be here sharing space with all you other queens today. And I'm really honored to be part of the last broadcast for 2022.
Awesome. And we are honored to have you here, Queen. Thank you for being here. Now, let's go over to Zen. Zen, greet the folks.
Peace and blessings, everyone. I am Xenia, the Organic Goddess, CEO of Pink Nectar, the women's wellness community. And I am so grateful to be here with my sister, Queen Goddesses. And I look forward to hearing everybody's input for this releasement ceremony.
Yeah, I like that. Releasement. Yes. It's a releasement ceremony. I hope everybody who is listening has a list of what they want to release today. I hope so. And if you do not, I want to encourage you to use this as an opportunity for release today. If you hadn't planned one and you just happened upon this broadcast, perhaps, just perhaps, it is not coincidence that you're listening to us right now in this place, in this moment. Perhaps this is your opportunity to release something today. If you are listening to us live, this applies. And if you are listening to us at some point in the future, it still applies. If you're just listening to this recording, this may be the opportunity that is being provided for you to release whatever that thing is that is weighing you down and preventing your elevation in this life. That is a word. If you didn't hear anything else, take that word with you. Okay? So I want to encourage everybody. Get a piece of pen. Did I say a piece of pen? I can't talk. A piece of paper, not a piece of a pen. Get a piece of paper and a pen, a whole pen, and write down the things that you want to leave in 2022. Like, seriously, do it. Do it today and have your own, as in put it, releasement ceremony. Right? You can do it with us here. You can do it after the broadcast is over or at some point before the end of this year, but I want to encourage everybody to do it. Let's go over into 2023 having let go of all of the things that were not meant to come with us. Right? So you notice I didn't call on MJ. It's not because I forgot MJ. It's because is because we're giving MJ. You notice MJ's camera is off. So MJ is a busy queen. And so MJ was out here making her coins, but she is taking the time to log in anyway. And so we're going to give MJ a little time to gather herself because she just got in from work. But you can greet the people, MJ, if you're able to, or we can wait until you're ready. You just tell me.
Blessings, love and light to you, beautiful people. You're not able to see me right now, but you're listening to me. This is MJ the poet, sexual goddess and anything sexuality and pure and light and love. But I'm really honored and very grateful as well to be able to join this last conversation. To be so honest with you, I don't have too much that I'm leaving in 2022 now, but I have some things that I've learned throughout this year that I need to put down to be able to get to my highest of frequencies for 2023. So I'm ready to lay it out to you, lovely queens, and I'm also ready to listen to you, lovely queens, who are here on the panel with me, and of course, those who are joining us via Facebook. I'm ready.
All right. Excellent. We like it. Greetings to those persons who are in the chat section. I see some of the queens are and kings too in the chat. I see you, Serene and Anju and Drayson. Thank you so much for being here for this conversation. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So I brought a list. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have a list. So I don't know who wants to begin. Should I start? And I'm not going to go through my entire list. What we could probably do is I could share something from my list and somebody else could share, and we just go around in that way. Because I have several items on my list, but it's possible that we may have some items on our list that are similar. And so I'll just go ahead and throw out the first one I have on my list, and then I'll pass it over to Aisha, and we'll just move around like that. Okay, so the first thing on my list is that in 2023, I am going to do better at saying no. That is number one on my list. I struggle, confession. Even as a therapist, I struggle greatly with the word no. N-O. It is perhaps the most difficult word for me to speak. And as a result, I often find myself in situations and circumstances that are less than ideal. I have said yes when I should have said no sometimes to my own detriment. And I have been saying this for a long time, years probably. Is this confession? It's confession, and it's really time for me to stop. I think that for all the years that I have been saying yes instead of no, I think 2022 is the year that it has gotten me into the most trouble. I think saying yes instead of no has made 2022 perhaps one of the most excruciatingly challenging years I've had in a long time. 2022 was rough, y'all. I don't know about the rest of you, but for me, it was rough over here. And I believe that much of it was caused by me not being able to just say no. And so that's at the top of my list. I am leaving that in 2022. A lot of people are going to be mad at me in 2023. People are going to be crushed. Hearts will be broken. Maybe relationships might come to a grinding halt. I do not know what's going to happen in 2023, but I do know that I am going to stop saying yes when what I really want to say is no, and let the chips fall where they may. So that's at the top of my list. I'm leaving that in 2022. So that's number one for me. I will kick the ball over to the next person. I don't know
I
who
don't
wants
really
to go
have
next.
that to let go, but question to everyone listening and all the queens on the panelists. Do you guys feel as if, as Black women, lots of us have to let go of this for this year? Like, I think it's a superwoman syndrome in us some of the times. We think we can handle, we think we're letting down someone if we say no. We think we can actually do it all. It's like, nah, yes, I got this, I can do it. And really and truly, we can't. Do you guys believe that it's something that we carry around thinking that we can really, basically, we stretch ourselves too thin? We carry too much. We're also we're also in the position sometimes we don't really want to tap into that soft life. We want to control, we want to make sure everything is done our way so we don't take help. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Because I would say for this year I could leave that behind a bit. But me very straight up. If me no want to do me now, get me for do it, I'm gonna tell you no. But then there's some times when you feel as if, yo, I really should help. Like, okay, I have a small tribe, and there are times when my tribe comes to me for help, just for someone to talk to. And they'll be talking to me, messaging me, and I'm sitting down looking at my phone like I'm crying because I'm going through my own growth and my own things, handling my own stuff, juggling my own stuff, because I've transitioned into a lot of new things for the past couple of months. But my friends are pouring out their soul to me, and I'm like, I want to say no. I want to say, yo, not right now, come off my phone. But I don't, because here it is, my tribe or someone in my tribe or someone close to me wants to pour into me and wants a little bit of help. So I find myself, not saying no, I say yes. What do you ladies think?
It's an old strategy. It's an old strategy for us to stretch ourselves thin, and it's all too common because that's what we've been taught. We've seen our moms do it. We've seen our aunties, our grandma. Everybody was stretching themselves thin. Um, my suggestion, if you're asking for a suggestion, is to just listen to your first mind. Because a lot of times your first reaction is the one that's best for both parties, especially if you're trying to help somebody or facilitate a program or whatever you're doing. Your first reaction is usually the most optimal choice in that setting because it's not going to be where it's like no and then it's a one size fit all kind of thing and you're just saying no to everything, when you're supposed to be saying yes. So you really have to be in a space where you're grounded and centered enough to be able to listen to your first response. Your first response is always going to take you to the most optimal outcome. And that's actually something that we had to learn as well this year, facilitating rites of passage programs. Sometimes you got to cancel the program. As hard as it sounds, like sometimes you have to cancel the program because the energy hasn't aligned properly. And your first reaction is usually the correct one. So that segues into, releasing that fear. So my first item on the list is being fearless in all things, regardless if it's a yes, regardless if it's a no. You have to be able to just say it's okay to be firm and assertive. It's okay to have those more masculine type responses. And then of course sometimes you just flow with it and say, oh, it's all right. And then you're in your highly feminine sensual type of stuff. But you do have to be able to embrace both sides of it. But that comes with being fearless. Because sometimes we're like, oh, am I being too mean? Am I being too hard? Did that come off whatever way? Like, don't worry about all that. What's going on with you? What's resonating with you? What's sitting well with your spirit? What's the most optimal situation or outcome that you're looking for? So my first item on the list is let's be fearless in 23.
I like it.
I want to respond to MJ's question, and I'll also add my first thing. I'll go ahead and take it out the bag. So I had it neatly packed up, ready to kick it out the door, and you come in here talking about let's unpack it. So no problem. I'll unpack it and then pack it back up and throw it out. So in addition, MJ, to that, that strong Black woman can take everything on type, stretch yourself thin line. I think there's also another side of it for some people, not necessarily all of us, but some people. For some people, the inability to say no, I really like the word that Zin brought up, was fear. Because I like to, what I've gotten myself into this year is looking at what is the emotion behind whatever it is and trying to really understand, okay, what really is at play here. And I think for a lot of us, when we get in these can't say no things, when we step back and really look at, okay, what's behind this? There's a fear there, right? It's a fear of losing the esteem, the affection, the respect even of the person that's going to be on the receiving end of the no. It's a fear based sometimes in an idea that we are not good enough. And so we have to prove our worth, prove our position in somebody's life by giving and doing and giving and giving and giving and giving. And even though you done give out everything but your last toenail, you're going to give the last toenail, right? Because at the core of it is a feeling that you have consciously or unconsciously within yourself that I'm not good enough just being here, right? I can't say no because I have to prove my worth. I have to prove that I'm supposed to be in your life and I'm supposed to have your affection. I'm supposed to have your attention. And this is why, because I show up and I do the things and I give of myself and whatever else. And so we don't even allow ourselves the grace to say no, whether it's no, I can't, no, I don't feel like it. No, I don't have the energy or headspace or whatever. No. Sometimes it's just not no. We're not even saying no. We're just saying not no. Oh gosh, Jack, I have my own stuff going on. I know the world is burning down for you, but it's still gonna be burning down tomorrow. So call me tomorrow. Let me deal with my stuff first. I think fear and that feeling of not being enough tends to be at the core of that. In addition to what MJ and Zin have said in terms of that whole, I'm the strong Black woman. I can do everything. I get it together, whatever it is. Okay, another 10 things are coming on my to-do list. Okay, pile it on. I can do it. In addition to that, there's also, these other things that we have at play. I also need to kick out some can't say no tendencies. That's not at the top of my list, but when you said it, I was like, oh, let me tack that onto my list because I forgot it. I'm still working on that. I have to say that I have gotten better in 2022 with using the 2-letter word with a full stop behind of it, no explanation needed. But the top of my list, the absolute stinking top of my list is the fear of speaking up. So I am very chatty. For people who know me and are close to me, they know that I can chat plenty. I'm very chatty when it comes to the good things, the pleasant things, the funny things, the things I know that will be well received. But when it comes to saying the things that may not be so well received, I tend to take the don't say anything road. That has not served me well at all in any year, but it also has not particularly not served me well in 2022. And that for me was at the top of my list. When you sent out the, hey, let's do a talk and this is a topic, I was like, oh, Lord have mercy, why Therese do me this today? And I got my pen and paper out, and that was the very first thing. That was the very first thing that came as you have to let this go. Because, and like you, Therese, for years, I have been getting the message, like these lessons that go on loop until you decide you're going to learn your lesson. That's one of my lessons. Speak up and speak out. And as Zin said, don't give two hoots about who feel how they don't feel, how they might feel, how they could possibly maybe feel. Be fearless in the speaking up and leave everything else as it is. We take on so much in terms of the weight of the possibility of something. People in them don't even show us they're gonna be mad at us yet. He got mad or she could be upset and we not gonna talk anymore, and then this whole relationship got done, and all of these things down the road we done play out in our head. And all we're called to do is speak up, speak your truth, and leave it at that. So that is the top of my list. I guess I'm piggybacking it or popcorning it back to you, Therese.
I'm going to piggyback on that as well.
I want to piggyback too. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
You go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback on that because both Zin and Aisha touched on another item on my list just now. I actually have that on my list of things that I would like to leave in 2022. And that is worrying so much about what people think about my decisions. Also a real issue for me. We're being completely transparent here. And as a segue, it is not coincidental that I have brought women here today. Like the queens who I've invited to sit on this panel today are the type of queens who people kind of, how should I say? Like the type of queens that people, for some reason, assume have it all together. The type of women that other women look at and perhaps think, oh gosh, if I could only be able to get it right like the way she did, right? I mean, it's real. We're being completely transparent. And so I feel like it's important for people who have a platform like this one and people who have influence over the lives of other people to take the time sometimes to say, listen, this is what I am not getting quite right. And here is what I am going to do about it. And humanize yourself, so to speak. because I feel like that, in the same way that giving good advice and helping other people is a huge motivating factor, I think also humanizing yourself and letting others see that you too are a work in progress. And it's okay to be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. The two need not cancel each other out. So we are amazing and we are doing all the things, but we are also still working on ourselves, right? So that's a little segue right there. But I say all of that to say that one of the things that I still struggle with tremendously is worrying about what people think about my decisions. I personally do not necessarily worry about my decision making process. I personally think that I use very good decision making models, and that when I have made decisions for my life, historically speaking, that they have been generally good decisions, except for the ones that I made when I was dotish. But and we I used to be dotish, right? Especially when I was in my 20s. Oh boy. That was the dotish season of my life. If there's anybody listening who doesn't know what dotish means, it's an Antiguan term that basically means you're fooly. You're not really using your common sense. But we've all had those episodes where you're young and you make choices that later on you're like, oh gosh, if I knew then what I know now, I would have made a different choice. But outside of decisions that were simply made because of the short-sightedness of youth, there have also been decisions that I have made where I'm just like, that was an absolutely amazing decision. Like, that is probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life. And I've had those moments too. And even in those moments, I still, somewhere in the back of my mind, find a moment to concern myself with what other people think of what I have decided to do. I do not know why actually, that's a lie. I do know why I do it. I don't know why I'm going to say I don't know why I do it, because I do know why I do it. We all know why we do it, because we have been programmed, culturally programmed, socially programmed, in whatever other ways we have received this dysfunctional and faulty programming. And what it essentially does is it keeps us in a prison, the prison of other people's opinions, because every decision that you make is going to be informed by, is so and so going to like it? And what kind of life is that? You are incarcerated, essentially. And it's not a prison of anybody else's making. Like, you are the one who's literally keeping those bars up around yourself by opting not to release yourself from the burden of making other people happy. And that is on my list. I need to figure out how to stop caring about what other people think. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I'm working on it. And maybe one of you can tell me how to get that done. Help a sister out. That's on my list. That's on my list. Like, yeah. So I'll let MJ go, because I know MJ wanted to jump in on that.
Okay, hold on 1 minute. My mouth is full of food. I'm trying to eat. Give me 1 second.
Carry on, MJ. If anybody is just joining us, MJ's camera is off for a while because MJ just got in from work, and we are encouraging the queens to go out and make the coins. So we're not mad at MJ, who just got home from work and is trying to eat something before she turns her camera on. So I encourage y'all to give her a little grace, okay? But if anybody else wants to tackle that, feel free.
Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, she's ready. Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
MJ.
Okay, so I want to say to you, beautiful queens, everything in divine order, because all of us basically are moving to the same rhythm. My number one thing that I really will love to leave for 2022 is fear. Now, let me tell you something, beautiful queens, kings and queens listening and watching. As Therese said, we are all continued, continuously, consistently, every day choosing to heal. And changes are not going to come about just today by a snap of a finger. I think every year, my Lego fear. I think every year, I think every full moon, I let on go and it just stick pan me. Because we have been raised, we have been socialized, we have been programmed to fear the unknown, to fear even our own purpose and who we are, to just stay in fear and allow it to just rock your body until you know want to move and make decisions for yourself. Every time I keep myself in a box because I am so fearful of my purpose. I am so fearful of who I can be and what I can be. And it's a work in progress. It is hard. I trust and believe it's hard because you question if you are even worthy for that, especially after years of telling yourself what you are worthy of and making other people convince you of what you are worthy of. It is something that you work on every day. But I am not lying. I am still very grateful for the ability to share this story, to share my story, and still work on letting go of my fear. Because I know the platform that I have. I know the platform that I have created. And sometimes I don't want to speak. But when I do speak, like if you go back to a couple of weeks ago, I made a post about my son, speaking about the bullying and the aggression that has been happening here on island in Antigua with our young men. Yes, the young girls are getting into it too, but it's really against our young boys. But what I really wanted to echo was parents need to take accountability and talk to their children. I was really fearful of putting that story out. I was fearful. I was like, nah, I don't want to load up anybody. At the end of the day, we're all doing the best that we can with what we have. I talked myself out of posting the video on social media probably about 5 times. But then I said, no, MJ, you have a platform, you have a voice and a platform that you have built wholeheartedly and with gratitude and with love. Put out your story. And the amount a woman, the amount of queens, the amount of mothers and fathers that reached out to me. I'm walking on Market Street and people stopping me. Miss, me love your video. Thank you. And you're right. And that just goes to show that you open your mouth, you pull yourself forward and out of your fear, and you are able to touch lives. You're able to help, you're able to educate and empower. And I show gratitude for that. I show gratitude, so much gratitude for that. One moment. Oh, sorry. I show so much gratitude for that. I thought somebody was knocking. I show so much gratitude for that because I'm now able to look at things from a different perspective. I'm also now able to get the point across that parents need to help each other, parents need to hold their children accountable. I'm now able to shed some light on this bullying thing is not a joke. All because, and if I didn't open my mouth, if I allowed that fear to hold me back, I wasn't going to be able to reach other persons, reach other mothers, reach other fathers. I wouldn't have an that import of love because everybody stopped me, asked me how my son was. I even heard stories that made me cry. Like, you're going through that? That's worse than what I'm going through. And I'm able to build even that small little tribe and help other parents that probably are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And I show gratitude for that. But I do want to continuously work on letting go fear. I think fear is the root of a lot of things. Fear is the root of how we look at ourselves, our self-esteem, how we dress, how we talk to ourselves. Fear is the root of a lot. And that is the one thing that I want to work on more and more and just let go of of basically for 2022, because that has stopped me I can't stop saying the word a lot because that has stopped me so many times. You'll be you'll be in a situation, and as you guys said, you're even in a relationship. Let's take it there. You're even in a relationship and you're filled with so much fear of being alone. That's the first thing that comes and kicks you. Do I let go of this person even though this relationship is not quite what it seems? Am I going to be lonely again? Am I going to have to start over again? And we stay in that situation and we allow fear to take over our mind, our body, and our soul. And fear manifests it manifests in our lives in a lot of things. It manifests even in the body. It shows in the body with ailments and these type of stuff. It shows you display it in just the way how you treat yourself. You talk down to yourself because you're so fearful of being alone. You're so fearful of what people may say now that you've left this 10-year relationship, whatever relationship it may be. You plague yourself with fear day in, day out, and it turns into self-hate, and it turns into so much more problems we sometimes don't even realize. I want to continuously work on letting go of fear because I don't want to be fearful anymore. I do not choose fear anymore. I am fearless. I am fearless.
I
I
like
want to
that.
segue into another thing that fear has driven me to that I want to make sure I let go of for 2022. I've transitioned in, I've transitioned into being a full-time mom. So meaning my two children live with me. Anybody anybody listening to this or watching this, once you know me, my children really lived with my mom for some time. They lived with my mother, but they saw me every day, school, everything. It was always me, but I wasn't able to give my children stability. I can say that with a clear voice that my mom provided them with stability at the time, stability that they needed, and I made decisions for them. I made decisions for them that I do not regret because I thought about them first and thought about myself after. But then I really should have thought about myself first because at the end of the day, I cannot give them something that I don't have. So, mothers listening to this, fathers listening to this, I'm not saying that your children come second, but you do come first. But I made decisions and then I went through a period of them transitioning to come back to live with me full time. And I went through this period, I was beating myself up. Me tell you, right? I could have taken one 2x4 and just bang myself every day. I was talking to my therapist, and my therapist, hey, she put her man upon me. She's like, MJ, you made this decision. You knew the decision you made and you knew the outcome. So suck it up because you made your decision. And that's when it hit me. I made decisions that I had to make in the moment that I had to make them, and I do not regret nothing. Nobody come and ask me nothing. Because I'm in day when I have to make my decision. So I made it. And I made it from a good place. I made it from a place with good intentions. So for 2023, I am for 2022, I am letting go the need to explain myself and the need to regret decisions I've made when that was sometimes even the only decision I had to make. I am not making excuses for my past self. I love that past self, but that's not where I am anymore. But however, I made a decision for my children to live with my mother because I knew without a doubt I could not provide them with stability. And no matter what we say, pick a nigga, children deserve the best. They deserve the best. And it's okay to say you can't give it to them in that time and in that space. It's quite okay to say that. And at that time and that space when I made my decision, I wasn't okay. For 2022, I want to provide myself with more grounding. And I say this to every king and queen listening right now. Please stop looking to people and to others for things that you need to give yourself first. that all tie in together. So I'm sorry. I'm trying not to take up too much time, but all of that tying together with understanding that you made a decision for yourself in that moment. Don't have any regrets. That's the decision that you made and you know why you made it. Push on. Make better decisions from there. Deal with the consequences. Face them on as an adult. Go to therapy, deal with the trauma that comes from it. Fine. But you made that decision. Let it go. Don't beat yourself up for it. That doesn't fix it. That doesn't make it any better. I guess that's it for me for now. I'll let the other ladies chime in and you guys can continue.
Okay. Whew. That was, you made me catch my breath there, MG. That was deep. That was deep. And you're getting lots and lots of love from the comment section. Lots of love from the comment section. Um, I will highlight just one. Drayson says, plenty love. You are an amazing queen, one of the best I have met. Wow, we love you, MJ. So you have the support of the always a queen, the metamorphosis following. And I want to just kind of underscore something that MJ just said. Was not on my list, but I'm going to go ahead and add it to the list of things that I should also probably let go. And that is this need to over explain. Over explaining is pathological. And that might sound like a strong statement for me to make, but it really is. Over explaining is pathological. It is you trying to defend yourself. It is literally a defense mechanism, is what it is, which is what makes it a pathology. Because why are you defending yourself? What are you defending yourself against? And that is when you begin to really kind of go inside yourself and you're like, what am I doing? Where is that coming from? It's coming from someplace inside of you. It's not the person who is making you over explain. You are over explaining because you feel the need to. And the question is why? Where is that need to just over explain yourself coming from? It's coming from someplace inside of you that you need to go to and heal up whatever that thing is. Is it that you do not feel worthy or enough? And so you need that validation. So you have to over explain to make sure the people approve and that they like you. What is it? Right? And so that over explaining is a problem. I sometimes do that too. And I know why I do it. And I should also leave that in 2022. Just wanted to throw that in. So let's go over to Zin. Zin, give us another item from your list.
Me?
Yes, you.
um, okay, so one other item I have is not allowing yourself to surrender to the outcome. So, like, we put things in place, we have all these goals or whatever we're doing, we're building on something, and then we're like, oh my God. And it kind of plays back into that fear, but it's a lack of surrender more so. So, leaving lack of surrender in 2022. Because if you're putting in the steps, you're putting in the work, or you're putting in the components to whatever you're putting together, then it must work, right? A lot of times we're overthinking it and thinking that it's not going to work out, but things take time. So like we say, the patience is a virtue. Being able to allow yourself to be patient enough to see things through rather than saying, oh, it's not working because it didn't come in a specific time frame. So again, surrendering, leaving the lack of surrender in 22, and we're surrendering to our higher selves and the universe in 23. So just to add to those comments about um, how to frame your thoughts in being direct and assertive. I know my previous self struggled with that, but something that really helped me is like spending time alone. I know people are like, oh, it's too lonely. I'm like, what's lonely? You get to know yourself for real. Like, do you really know yourself? Have you spent time with yourself alone for real? Have you done that? And once you really do that, you'll you'll be able to have that confidence to say, no, that's it. This is what I'm doing, and you start to get more comfortable with that. And then even saying stuff out loud. So sometimes we're in our thoughts, just saying whatever we're saying in our thoughts. Sometimes you need to actually say it out loud to yourself so that you can hear how it sounds. All types of conversations. I'm sure there's words that you don't use because it makes you feel like, oh, I shouldn't be saying that. Ooh, ooh. You got to practice saying those words out loud to yourself so that you get comfortable saying it. And then, you're just building up your confidence enough to say, yeah, I'm just making this decision. That's it. This is for me right now in this space where I'm in currently. So spending time alone, speaking these words out loud to yourself. And just to go back a little bit more, crying is releasing. So I'm really proud that MJ just was her authentic self and cried, because that's part of that releasement, being able to just flow, let it come out. The other thing that comes to mind is our inner child. I feel like when we have these fears to speak, we have the hesitation or the over-explaining, it's like the little kid in us. There's something going on with that little girl or that little boy in you where you're just like, mommy said I can't do this, dad said I can't do this, auntie, whoever said I can't do these things. So then to reparent yourself, that's where this alone time comes in. That's where this self-reflection comes in. And saying, no, I'm actually an adult now. And I can make these adult decisions because I'm doing things that are empowering myself and my community. Because essentially that's what we're doing. We're community builders. We're empowering ourselves so that we can build up our communities. So there's no way that we're making decisions. That's not something that's going to be substantial. So again, reparenting that little self and saying, it's okay, you're an adult now, you can make these adult decisions. So that's my input. But yes, let's surrender in 23.
Aisha, I see you like you're ready. You're ready to jump on that.
No, I'm just soaking it all in, to be perfectly honest. I like the way Zin phrased that point of surrender. What I had on my list was probably connected to that, and it's probably that I wasn't able to find the words that she so eloquently found. I had letting go of needing to control the outcome of things, because that's a big thing that causes me anxiety. Wanting to, okay, I'm going to do this, and then that's going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen at the end. This is how it's going to look, and it doesn't always go down well, because the end result doesn't always look the way that we think it's going to look, nor does it have to, right? Like as Zin said, when you learn to surrender more to the process and less to the outcome, you begin to recognize that sometimes the outcome that you had painted in your head and that you're holding on to and wanting to make this happen and will it to happen and all of that, what actually shows up is sometimes a whole lot better, right? So it's a good thing that you didn't have that. And one of the things I need to learn to do better, to be more consistent in doing, is letting go of my need to control the process and the outcome. And if we're going to talk about emotions tied to it, it's coming back to the fear thing again, right? Whole lot of fear. Another thing that I have decided that I need to be more intentional about working on, it just came back to me that when MJ was speaking, she said something, and I made a mental note to respond to it. She was saying it seems like, every year fear is what comes up for her, right? To let go. And, every full moon she does this letting go thing. And I want to affirm for all of us that, and I'm sure you all already know, but still I'm affirming it because I need to hear it too. It's not a one and done thing. It is a continuous process. And I'm sure if MJ were to look back at MJ 2020 or MJ 2021, she'd be like, oh my God, look at how
Yep,
fear I've already let go.
girl.
I hear you, girl, and yes, girl, talk the things. It's a process. So, and that's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. We're ever evolving into our highest and best selves. And so we are going to be like this continuous, beautiful work in progress masterpiece. And so next year we might have a similar discussion, and you can hear me say the exact same things I'm saying, and you'll be like, wait, whole 365 days and you don't even do one thing yet towards this goal. No, you are doing it, and you're by degrees chipping away at that anthill of fear or whatever other emotion or thing that you're holding on to that you're realizing is not serving you well. And so I have to do a lot more work, and I want to be very intentional in 2023 around releasing guilt that I hold on to. Guilt for those dotish 20s decisions. And if I'm honest, some of them 20s decisions actually were made in my 30s. But guilt over things that you're like, oh my God, I hope nobody I know ever knows that I made that decision, because God, how dunce was that? And in going through that process this continuous process of releasing guilt, I am also honoring myself enough to be like, hey, sis, by the way, you're human. And you're not this perfect being that has to make perfect decisions every time. And this one time or 10 times that you made less than perfect decisions, you're not going to beat up yourself about because, oh my goodness, that was so stupid. You were learning. And in that moment, with whatever you had, the tools that you had to work with, you made the decision that in that moment seemed like the best decision. You have the benefit of hindsight now, but Aisha back then didn't have the hindsight benefit. Cut her some slack. And as I'm saying it, I remember my first year of college, my economics professor used to come in and say, good enough is best. I used to be like, what kind of retarded ass thing is that? Good enough is best. Good enough is not best. Best is best. And he always used to say good enough is best. And he was trying to teach us the economics concept of opportunity cost by saying that. And he was basically saying that whatever decision you make at any point in time is actually the best decision in that point in time, because if there was a better decision, you would have made it. Now, later on, looking back at that point in time, you might be like, oh, I should have done this other thing. But that's because at this new point in time, you have another, a better decision or a better solution that is in your sphere of consciousness for you to say, oh no, that one was better. But in the moment, the other decision was best, and that's why you took it. And he kept using that one to teach the concept of opportunity cost, but he would have these moments where he'd be like, y'all are just like, what, 18, 19, you don't know anything. If I can teach you nothing, I'll let you know good enough is best. And I really believe that he was trying to impart some life wisdom as well as economics wisdom on us to help us to know, like, chill, trust yourself, respect yourself enough to know that, hey, in the moment, this was the best decision that I made. And if I had to go back and do it with all that I now know, I probably would have done it differently, but that doesn't make that moment any less less good, less real, less valid in terms of what I did in that moment. And so there are a lot of things, decisions I've made, um, decisions I didn't make, all kinds of things that I have been carrying with me, within my emotional self, in my cells, and all of that, completely laced and covered in guilt and, um, knowing that I need to let it go, need to not carry it with me anymore, but still haven't had the courage or energy to unpack that extra suitcase. And so in 2023, the guilt is one of the things that I'm leaving behind.
Okay. I wanted to say something about this whole idea of the decision making and stuff like that. I actually have a memory here that Facebook sent back to me of something that I posted several years ago, and that is very, very fitting for the discussion that we're currently having. And it says, Queen, forgive yourself for the unwise choices you've made. You are a work in progress. No one gets it right all the time. Harboring unforgiveness of self will put you in a heavy state of bondage. Constantly replaying the should've, could've, would've's over and over will block you from seeing the beauty in this imperfection. Everything happens for a reason, and sometimes we learn more from doing something wrong than doing it right. Shake it off, pick up the pieces, and carefully evaluate the situation in order to gain valuable lessons moving forward. Get back in the game. You can do this. And I posted that on the 18th of December, 2015. What are the odds? But yeah, and so fitting. And I also wanted to say that with regards to what Aisha just shared, that when one talks about doing their best, we have to understand that your best is relative. The whole idea of what is the best and what that looks like is really relative. It's situational, because what my best looked like back in 2015 is definitely not what my best looks like today in 2022. Your best is informed by what you know in that moment. And in the same way, in 2025 or 2026 or 2028 years down the road, my best is not going to look like what my best looks like today, because I would have grown, I would have matured, I would have learned so much more. I would have evolved past the point that I am at right now. And so showing up at my best today and showing up at my best 5 years from now is not going to look the same. But does that mean that I am not doing my best today? Of course I am. I am doing my best based on the resources that I have access to right now, the emotional, the intellectual, the psychological resources. And I expect that my resources are probably going to look much better 10 years from now. I should not be in the same place. And so my best is going to look different. And so we have to give ourselves grace based on the fact that you are doing your best based on what you have in front of you in the moment. And you were also doing your best 10 years ago with whatever resources you had access to then. Clearly now you have more resources. So looking back, it's probably going to look like you weren't doing your best, but you actually were. You were doing your best based on what you had in that moment. And so let yourself off the hook, give yourself some grace, right? The other thing I wanted to comment on was what Zin said earlier about surrendering. I feel like I have something similar on my list as well. And as Aisha said, perhaps I just did not have the verbiage that Zin used, but I feel like that is exactly what I wanted to say. And that is, I just releasing this attachment that I have to a particular specific outcome. Like I want things to turn out the way I planned it, the way I have always envisioned it. I have a vision for my life. This is how it's supposed to go. I am going to do everything in my power to ensure that it goes this way and that things turn out this way. And if they dare not turn out the way that I have always envisioned it, I will have a complete meltdown because how dare life not produce and manifest the vision that I have had all these years? Like that level of madness. I need to leave that in 2022 because what is that? That is a recipe for clinical depression, in case anybody does not know that. It literally is. It literally is. And I need to leave that in 2022. This attachment to a particular outcome. Listen, kings and queens, whatever the universe wants to happen is what's going to happen. You can plan and plan and plan. You have got to, as Zin put it, surrender. Surrender. And not just surrender, I'm going to add another layer to that. Surrender, but do it with the understanding that as long as you are connected to your divine source, that your life is unfolding exactly as it is supposed to, even if it is not the vision that you had in mind. And as easy as it is for those words to leave my mouth, when it's time to do it, listen, let me just mute my mic. Somebody else can talk because I cannot. The way I am attached to the outcome.
Listen.
I need.
That's the truth. Because it's really easy to tell other queens, but when you're ready to swallow your own pill, you're like, oh my gosh, it's not passing now. But you hit the nail on the head. I agree. Surrendering is a thing because of fear. We have a very, 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 very hard time to do. To let go and just let it flow. Just like water flows, we need to let it flow. And I think that is connected to your third eye, your crown chakra. Just letting water flow. Just let it flow. Know that you are divinely blessed. You are abundantly blessed. Awa fuyu fuyu. Something I'm gonna preach every day because I work in sales. So it's something that I have to see and tell myself every day to affirm. Wa fuyu fuyu. And wa fuyu fuyu. And no matter what it be, whatever is yours will find its way to you because it's meant for you. But I think giving advice is very important, as you said earlier. So one advice I will have is affirmations. Affirmation. It helps you train and basically reprogram the mind to let yourself know you are worthy, concrete yourself and ground yourself in your worthiness. It changes that self-talk that we have been inflicted with from since we were in the stomach. I find myself some days as a mother struggling with how I speak to my children because healing from my own trauma is now, ooh, look at that. Ooh, look at that. You hear that? I just said healing from my own trauma is teaching me and has taught me how to speak to my children. Let me tell you, words are important. I struggle with it sometimes. Like, especially when they're teenagers try stress you. I know y'all mothers out there agree with me. Don't act, especially when you just want to put your foot. So you don't want to say it to hurt them, no, but then just piss you off. You're like, you have to just like especially the one for me, he's taller than me. Okay? Let's put that out there. I'm a tall woman. I'm what, 5'10"? And he's about almost 6 feet and he's 13. So sometimes you just want to put on pan them and words come out and you don't mean it. You're not trying to hurt them with your words. But it come out because you just want to vibrate your soul some of the time. You just want anyway. But I know the comment section better be lighting up because I know you guys can testify to this. However, I find myself where I catch myself back, I count to 10. If I did say something that I know would have hurt any of them, I go to them and I apologize. Words are very important. And what you say to your children affects them from now throughout the rest of their lives. And that's where self-talk comes from. So to help us to counteract the fear, affirmations. Because of the fear that I know I have within myself, because of the fear I battle with every end, Aisha is right. Over the years, I've gotten way better at it. I'm not going to front. I've gotten way better at it. I've been letting it go little by little. And I get to a point where I beat up myself because it's like, oh, no, man, you're not. Get rid of this thing. You're fast enough. You're waste time. What you're doing? You are, listen. And you beat yourself up because you're looking back. But then one time, just one time, you look back and you realize, no, man, I came a long way. I came a hey, I'm preaching. I'm about to get emotional again. And no, I'm telling you, I've come a long way from the person that I was years ago and the progress and the healing that I had to do to let go of fear. You understand? But because I know how I am sometimes and I get in my own head, affirmations are all around me. It's the first thing I listen to in the morning to raise my vibrations. It's something that I do. And it's now something that I have to teach and pass down to my beautiful daughter. Yes, I pass it down to the two of them because boys need affirmations as much as girls. Queens, kings, let me tell you, our boys need affirmations as much as girls. Let these little boys know that they are beautiful, they are worthy, as much as the little girl in fifth form or the little girl in grade 6. She's cute and she's worthy. Let your sons know that they are worthy, please. So now I get to pass this down to them, changing their self-talk and hoping and praying for the best that it boosts their self-esteem when they get my age. So you see, trauma has a funny way of creeping up on us and changing things for the better, whether we want to realize it or not. My trauma is now teaching me how to be a better mother for my babies. Stability is something that I have struggled with over the years as well. As a Virgo, I am a grounded sign. I'm an earth sign, but I struggle to give myself stability because of fear a lot of times. So you see, everything that's intertwined with each other. What I realize is that sometimes I get into situations and I look, not situations really, I may get into a friendship or even a relationship, and I'm looking for that person to provide me with stability. That's one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn for this year because my beautiful relationship ended like about 7 months ago. So I am single. And what Zin said, guys, is very important. Talk by yourself. It is worth it because nobody wants to be miserable and still in a relationship. And if you are unhappy with yourself, nobody is ever going to make you happy. So love on your solace because it is as important as sex, as eating, as drinking. Love on your solace. So I am single now at this point in time, but looking back, I really had to do some healing. Even though it was a beautiful relationship, I had to adjust certain things and check back on certain things. And I realized the biggest theme for me was looking at other people to give me stability when I need to give it to myself. If it's either stepping out of my fear and stepping into my purpose, if it's that, if it's dealing with my traumas, like really diving deep into them, dealing with them and stop sweeping them under the rug, I need to give stability to me because I cannot expect something from somebody that I am not even given to myself. I would say for the past 3 years, one of my biggest themes has been love. And what I wasn't given to myself that was looking from others was love. I've learned that lesson. Best believe this right here is the heart chakra, that green chakra. That's where your love comes from. And I've worked very hard on that. But for now, I believe my next lesson is stability. So I hope for 2022, I can let go of the need of looking for other persons to give me things that I am able to give to myself. I am able to give to myself. I am stable. I am grounded. That's one of the things that I'm looking for 2023. I also want to tie into that really quickly and say another thing is, light and love. And as light and love, as magic workers, as magical people, as healers, both kings and queens, we get very caught up a lot of times in this big thing, always wanting to help everybody. Tap. Even because I've made excuses. I've said to myself, but the person is not taking from me. I'm here filling my cup, and trust and believe me, they fill my cup overflow and then some. But sometimes some people just don't want your help, and that is okay. Sometimes you're just not meant to help that person in that time, in that space. Or maybe sometimes the help that you're supposed to provide that person is not quite what you think it is. But let go. Stop try help everybody. Stop trying to give everybody the clothes off of your back. No matter how good they are, and we make excuses now. But the person good, yeah. But you just don't need to help them, because I suffer from that a lot. I suffer from this space because I am so much light and so much love, and I have so much to give, and I want to give it, and I want to help. I find myself stuck in situations where I feel as if the situation is so like too good to be true. Yo, I can help you, but the person is not really ready for the help that I can give, or the person is not on the level to receive that help that I can give. Here's what. It's okay. It's okay. Hi. Hello. You're listening? It's fine. It's okay. Because you just mean from help everybody. No matter how much you talk, no matter how much you preach, because I have people in my circle that I talk to about, hey, make that decision, make that decision. At the end of the day, we have to all go down that road called life the way we are meant to go, the way we are meant to flow. Where you give advice, but if that person is not ready to receive it, they're just not. And it's okay to let go of that. The person is not toxic, but is it what you're really meant to do anymore? Are you giving too much still and not even receiving, even though your cup is being filled by you? Are you compromising too much? That is the big thing, too. We think that compromising is always okay. No, let it go. It's okay to let go of beautiful situations, even though you think they're beautiful. It's okay. It's quite fine. You just can't help everybody. That's another lesson I definitely that's another thing I'm unpacking for 2022.
I want to quickly highlight this comment from Jason because I feel like it lines up with what MJ just said. Jason said, I will be leaving people who do not have me as a priority behind. Tired of being everything to everyone and then ending up being nothing to many. Ooh, child, that's a whole word.
Quote and a half.
I felt that in my soul.
Andre, I had something similar on my list. I have people on the list.
Come again.
I have people on the list. I know we were talking about things, but
Well, sometimes we have to leave people. behind?
But I love the way that he phrased that. That was beautifully said.
Well, speaking of people, I also have people on my list. Um, Specifically people who do not align with where your life is going. Um, I know we like to talk about, oh, you have to release toxic people and that kind of thing. I am not necessarily referring to toxicity because sometimes a person is not toxic at all, but you still need to let them go. And so I want us to step away from the idea, and I think MJ just touched on it, that sometimes you're not releasing people because they are bad people. Sometimes you are not releasing people because they have harmed you in some way. Sometimes you are releasing people simply because they do not align with where you are going or the direction that your life is taking or the goals that you have set for yourself or just the person that you are becoming and the person that you're trying to show up as in the world. They do not align with that. And that is absolutely okay. As a matter of fact, I think it is the most normal process in the world. As you evolve as a human being, we have to accept that everybody is not going to go with us where we are going. Sometimes your lives will take you in an opposite direction from a person that perhaps you truly love. It happens, not because anything's wrong with you or them. It's just no longer a vibrational match for one reason or another. And we are really uncomfortable with this as human beings. We want people to
We're
always stay with
uncomfortable
us.
with having to do it. We're not uncomfortable with it because I'm sure we can all
That's
look back at situations where it sort of organically happened and we just kind of drifted apart. You're over here doing you, I was over here doing me, and we look back 5 years and went, oh shoot, my BFF from back in the day, I wish them well, blah, 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 but we just grew up. We don't have a problem with it happening that way. We have a problem with being at a state where we see, oh, this is what needs to be done. Let me go ahead and set the wheels in motion. That's what we have a problem with.
yeah,
That's when the
you're
fear
right.
all
Yeah,
over.
yeah. You don't want to be the one who calls it and says that this particular interaction or this relationship is no longer serving the person that I want to be in this world. It's just no longer a match. Um, and so that is something that I want to leave behind. It's just embracing the clear understanding that everybody's not going to go with you. Everybody can't go with you. And like I said, it's not because they're toxic. We like to use that word. This person is so toxic, so I had to let them go. Newsflash, sometimes there will be people who are not toxic at all, and you still have to let them go because they're just not meant to be there. You know, um, and you will feel, I believe. Today, I had a conversation with someone who said that when that happens and that drifting apart happens, just naturally happens, and you just realize the person that you were very, very close to, you're just not close to them anymore. You don't have things to talk about anymore. Your interactions are no longer natural and organic. It feels strained, it feels forced. And people are just naturally drifting apart. And we are forcing it, forcing the interactions. Like, even though we realize what's happening, we are forcing it. determined to make it happen and determined to keep that person close. And it is the most uncomfortable thing. Like the person that you were always chatty with, now all of a sudden there is just silence because you're not interested in even talking about the same things anymore. I just want to encourage people to stop doing that nonsense, please. Can we just leave that in 2022? And when you realize it's time for somebody to just gravitate away from you, to just allow them to stop blocking, just let people flow naturally out of your life if that is what is supposed to happen. And also let people flow naturally into. I should add that because sometimes people flow naturally into your life in the same time that people are flowing out. As a matter of fact, I believe that sometimes people are flowing out to make room so that people can flow in. And if you're blocking the door, well, I mean, what's going to happen? You need to stop blocking the door. Just flow. Just allow it to flow, right? And so that's what I want to leave in 2022. That's one of the things I feel like I have in the past done that, like stood up blocking the door when people were trying to flow naturally out. And as a result, I have found myself sometimes in forced situations that I wish I had allowed to flow away when the time for the flow was happening. Because I think sometimes we end up in situations where persons who were meant to flow out become fixtures in our lives when they were never meant to become a fixture. They were meant to just flow out at some point, and you forced the interaction to continue, and they become a fixture. And I think that there is nothing worse than ending up in permanent situations with temporary people. I'm mute my mic now because that was heavy. Yeah, somebody else say something. It's a wrap.
Actually, I wanted to say something. I had forgot to say it earlier when we are talking about, or MJ mentioned she posted something on social media and was trying to talk herself out of it. I actually did the opposite maybe last week where I was like, oh, I posted this. And the title is This is a Waste Man. And I was talking about one of my ex partners. And I just really put it out, like I had a whole rundown of why I was doing that. It wasn't only because I wanted to just be messy or whatever the perception was. But I'm like, no, I'm doing this because there's a lot of reasons why I need to, not only for my personal reasoning, but for my community to know that these things are happening in our communities and we have to be aware of who we're involving ourselves with. So what you were saying, those temporary people becoming permanent, that was a situation that prolonged itself. Not listening to spirit, not listening to my intuition, and then ending up in a long-term relationship that just really was not serving me from the beginning. So one thing on my list, so now to get back to my list, is the expectation that people are going to do the things that I would do. So I generally think of myself as, yes, I think in progressive ways and unified ways and village, the village mindset. But not everybody is going to think like me. And I cannot waste time being upset that people don't think like me. So, yes, losing the expectation that people are going to think like us because it's going to save me some headache in the long run.
We are definitely aligned on this panel. It's not even funny. one of the things I have on my list is letting go of expecting people to show up as me. And in brackets, I have expecting me from people. And then a bullet point that I have underneath it is in caps, it's disrespectful to that other person's humanity. Because when I first put it down, I was like, well, maybe everybody just can't be me. I show up this way and I blah, 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 blah. And when I was sitting with it with my meditation, my divine was like, why you think another person's supposed to be you? Like, that is some ego driven shit right there. Like, what is that about? Can you look at yourself for a minute? Even though you are looking at it from a standpoint of these things that I'm expecting are good things, are things that, we should have. There's benefit to this. Everybody should be this way. One, everybody doesn't necessarily should be that way, but also it is arrogant. And I had to check myself on that arrogant expectation of, I have this standard. And so I expect people to show up with this level of stuff. It's arrogant. And two, it also disrespects that other person's humanity because you're not allowing that person the freedom to show up as themselves. You're wanting to only engage in the aspects of yourself that you have decided are good and you want to deal with. And so for me, I had that on that list. So when Zin was saying it, I was like, oh, Lord have mercy, she read in my mind. But yes, from the standpoint of the point that Zin was making, I definitely agree with that because we put a whole lot of energy into the reaction that we have to the disappointment of somebody not showing up with those same values. We also put a lot of energy into the expectation as well, so just kind of freeing up that energy to put it to better use somewhere else. That's definitely something I'm not in the 2-3. No. Y'all have been making a lot of statements. Y'all and Grayson have been making a lot of statements that should be on t-shirts. And I just want to say, if nobody has started a t-shirt business, don't be surprised if y'all see me on the side of the road selling t-shirts with y'all statements on there. I will cut you a piece of the profits. Don't sue me. But all I'm saying is these need to be on t-shirts somewhere.
I hear you on that, sis.
Facts.
Some of these comments need to be on t-shirts.
With the expectation, it's also inconsiderate to where the person is currently. So we usually say meet people where they are, etc. When we're like, oh, I expect blah blah blah, we're being considerate to where they actually are, and if they have the ability or the mindset to do whatever we're saying they're supposed to do. So yes, let's meet people where they are.
Let's see, MJ, like she broke off.
Listen, my neck broke off, yeah. You are spot on with that because it ties like everything in divine order for real, because that's what it is. You're at this point in your life. You have worked to get to that point in your life. May it be financially, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and physically. You want someone to come with that. You expect you from that person. You want someone to come there. And it ties into what I said with letting go of people now, because it's okay to realize that person is not there, but having that expectation, expecting yourself from that person. You guys, everything y'all are saying is correct, because it's a sensitive thing, because then you know what it does, it's a double-edged sword, because then it makes it seem as if you shouldn't have boundaries, or what's the word I'm looking for, you shouldn't you should just take nothing, or you should take less than. No, it's not that you're saying to take less than, but everybody born different, grow different, think different. And what I have personally gone through is because of the things that I have went through that has got me here. I'm an emotional woman because I lacked emotion as a child. I had to give it to myself. I am a strong minded woman. I speak very well and I speak with passion because you are going to hear my voice. I grew up in a home where sometimes the way I spoke reminded my mother of my father. So she didn't really want to hear my voice. And I meant nothing is going to silence me. So the way I am and the way I was raised is definitely different from the way you are and the way you were raised and the traumas you face. So you're going to understand life very differently than I am. And we have to realize that sometimes that it is okay. The person just not upon your level, it does not mean they are less than. It just means that they're going through something different. Their process is different. Their journey is different. But as Therese says, if it does not align with what you are and what you are looking for, it's okay to say it. But stop expecting everybody to move and think and sway and heal like how you were healed. No, it's not that easy. And the barriers that you have probably broken down, this person hasn't. But you still don't even know the fights that this person is probably still going through that makes them even stronger or as strong as you. But it does take away from that person. We expectations kill us because then I don't really understand that. I want a yin to my yang. I want a yin to my yang. I want you to, if I am quirky and full of energy, oh boo, I got energy for the two of us. Trust and believe. You don't have to be coming hiking with me every day. I'm good. You don't have to. You understand? I'm not looking for a partner, a friend, anybody that loves hiking as much as I do. Yo, if I could hike Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would. I would, and I have done it. But that doesn't mean I want somebody that can meet me there. You understand? It does, however, I would like a partner or someone who is active. But if you don't come and hike with me, I'm okay because boo, I got energy for the two of us. I got energy for morning, noon, and night. So it's okay. You rest. If you understand what I'm trying to say, I want a yin to my yang. I am an emotional woman. I am an emotional creature, and I own my emotions because my emotions are the gateway to my heart and they're the gateway to my soul. But I am logical. Well, sometimes I'm really logical. Sometimes I make my emotions control me. So I do want a yang. I want someone who, in turn, echoes logics so they can balance me out. I can balance them out. Sometimes it doesn't always work, but you understand what I'm trying to say. You can't have the good without the bad. So if you are going through life expecting to meet everybody that thinks like you are going to be bored out of your mind. You're not going to reach people and meet people and see different walks of life and different sides of life. You know how much amazing queens I've met, all living here in Antigua, who de America and come down and then we link up. Just a couple of days ago, just 2-3 days ago, I followed this young lady, this beautiful queen on Instagram. We've been following each other for years. We have never met. She sees me in a Syrian store. And if you guys follow me, you know I post a lot of my hiking, my poetry. I am a poet. I sell sex toys. I post to empower, to educate, to uplift. And she came right up to me. Hi, I have you on Instagram. We've been following each other for years, but this is the first time we're physically meeting. And let me tell you how this daughter is glowing. She's smiling. She's there vibrating. We hugged about 5 times in a 15-minute conversation because I'm like, she looked at me and she said, I didn't know you were so dope. I'm like, girl, I'm the dopest. But it's because of that energy I put out already. You vibrate to it. And I am able to meet other people, other persons from walk of life. Because you never know what she's about to teach me. You never know what I'm about to learn from her. It may be for a long time, it may be for a short time. It doesn't matter. Expecting everybody to move like you, think like you, makes life boring. But what all you need to do is just equip yourself to handle certain things, to deal with certain things. If it's too much, say it's too much. If it's not what you're looking for, say that's not what you're looking for. Very simple. Find your voice. That is one thing I think I can echo on a bit to let go for 2022. Really speaking up a lot more than I do. Really connecting to my throat chakra, opening up my voice a lot more and echoing not only my story but my truth. Excuse me, my earbuds are sliding in and out. I don't know why they don't want to stay in. It's best if I just put it on speaker. I'll disconnect after this. But finding my voice a lot more, speaking my truth a lot more. And it's not about even it's about helping, and it's about letting persons know you went through it, I went through it too, this is how I handle it, my way is so much better. If you want to try, it saves you heartache, you can try it, it's up to you. But that's one thing I would like to let go in 2022, the fear of not speaking my truth.
Okay. All right. So we are now at 20 minutes before the top of the hour. We are not going past the top of the hour, just so you know. So let us begin now. Let us begin now to make sure that we're not leaving anything unsaid in this conversation. I don't really need to share anything else from my list because I feel like in one way or another, the other items on my list have already been touched uh, by somebody else. So I don't feel like I need to bring up anything else from my list necessarily. Um, I did have not telling people the truth so that you don't hurt their feelings, but I feel like Aisha spoke to that when she talked about earlier not expressing herself, particularly when it is something that is quote unquote negative. Like the positive stuff, she's a clear communicator, no problem. But if it's something negative, she chooses to go the route of I'll just not say anything. And so it's kind of, I think, similar to that. So I don't feel like we need to expound much more on that. So that's essentially my list, basically. Does anybody else have any other items that they are leaving in 2022?
No, but I just want to add a little more to that expectation thing. Like sometimes we can just ask for what we want. Like, when I'm coming back, can you please have and just learn how to speak in an eloquent kind of way instead of always resorting to that nagging voice, and just ask for what you want. I think that would also tie into speaking up and speaking up for yourself, etc. Just learning how to utilize words. How they say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, kind of thing. So ask for what you want, especially if it's something that's really important to you, or if you're in a long-term relationship with somebody and you're like, look, they can't really read your mind, but you can just set them down and say, hey, when I get back, can you please have these things XYZ? Or when we get to this point, can we get XYZ? Just learn how to speak to yourself so that you can learn how to speak to your people and ask for what you want. So yeah, that was all I had. I don't have anything else on my list either.
How about you, Aisha?
No, I mean, like you, I think anything else that I might have had on my list has been in some way touched on by MJ, you, or Zin. So I feel full. I'm complete.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. This is my list. What are we going to do with these lists after the broadcast is
I have
over?
another comment. I have another comment. So, like when we talk about having those difficult conversations, sometimes you just gotta let it out. I know people are really afraid of the crying, people are afraid of the louder voice tones, etc. But sometimes you really just got to get those emotions out. This past year, I had to have some difficult conversations, and I'm like, this is just me. I'm gonna cry. And I've gotten to the point where I just embrace my emotions because I know that I'm not gonna pick up a knife. I know that I'm not going to, harm myself or someone else. I know that this is coming from a place of authenticity and a serious conversation that needs to be had so that we can either clear the air for one reason or another, whatever those reasons are. Especially when it comes to family members. I know we have a really hard time bringing up conflict and don't have good conflict resolution, but it's okay. Understand your process, understand how you react to things, embrace that aspect of yourself. If you're a crier like me, let the tears flow. If your voice is doing all types of stuff, it's all right. Get it out, let it go, and then understand how you are going to be able to heal from it, because it's really not for the other person, it's for you. It's for you to be able to not wait until it builds up so much that you're getting to that heightened emotional state. You're going to learn how to say, you know what, let me speak on this right now, and then you're less likely to be in that heightened emotional state moving forward. But again, everything takes practice. Getting it out that first time is going to be rough. But the more you do it, yeah, the more you do it, you're going to be able to speak in your regular tone and say, hey, I really did not appreciate that, or this contract has ended, or what are you doing? That's not what we
Mhm.
agreed on. And you're going to be able to start speaking in your normal voice. But you got to get all those backed up emotions out in order for you to get to that point.
Yep, yep. Communication. That is one thing as well I would like to get better at. So, the lack of communication, not just tapping in more to my communication style, but tapping into others. Being able to not expect too much, because I do sometimes expect a little bit too much from people. I do it sometimes. So, not expecting too much from others, but being able to listen. Like, listen not only with my physical ears, but my heart, my everything. Just listen to different persons in my life and learn different types of communication, not only just for myself, but those who I will come encounter with, whether it may be relationships, romantic, friendships, business relationship. Because at the end of the day, I am a businesswoman. So I want to be able to make sure I communicate effectively. I think I'm a great listener. Psh, I think I'm a beautiful listener. And I think, of course, I am an eloquent speaker. Duh. But there are sometimes some things I do miss. And I miss them because I'm blinded a little bit with emotions. Emotions that are sometimes not facts, just feelings. And I'm learning about, yes. Yes, that's one thing. Yes, that's one thing I need to let go for in 2022. Let go of, sorry, in 2022. I got really excited with that. That just hit me. The the need to feel as if that every feeling I feel is a fact. Give me 1 second. Hold on, hold on. Don't go anywhere. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
learning Learning about your emotions is a really important tool, though, because each emotion is a signal for an action, and most times we
Okay.
fall into that negative action rather than the action that we're intended to use with those emotions. So
Right.
that's something that people can you can just Google it. Just look up what the meanings of your emotions are and what the positive action for that emotion is really supposed to be.
Exactly. And you get so like caught up in your you get caught up in your head, you get caught up in your emotions, and you throughout my life, a lot of times I would doubt what I'm feeling. I would doubt myself. I would doubt my third eye and what exactly I was feeling. It happened. I realized I didn't trust myself. I've been working on that. Saying all that to say, I get to a point sometimes where I don't quite know how to let go of the feeling and say, hey, not because you're feeling it, that means that is what is happening. I don't click as quick as I need to sometimes into, hey, look at the feeling. Why are you feeling that way? Instead of getting caught up in it. Sometimes I get caught up in it and I run with it. That is not good. And that is something that I would really like to work on for 2022. The need to feel that every feeling that I'm feeling is a fact. And sometimes, more than often, it is not. It is just there presented because there's something else trying to grab my attention. There's something else happening that I don't really want to face. Like that hard conversation that I said I had with my therapist. Sorry. That hard can you hear me?
Yes. Mhm.
That hard, sorry, my kids actually just got home. So the hard conversation, one second. That hard conversation that I had with my therapist was because I was actually throwing a tantrum for a feeling that I was going through. I was throwing a tantrum for the fact that I made a decision that came to haunt me years ago. I am the one that made that decision. But I kept holding on to the guilt and beating up myself instead of facing the emotion. I made that decision because I was lacking. I made a decision because that's what I had to make. But I was throwing a tantrum. Here it is, I'm sitting down throwing a whole tantrum, and me met big grown woman now. Nobody hold a gun to me head now. Make the decision and know the time to feel the consequence of the decision made throw a tantrum like a child instead of facing the reality of the decision that I made. After the little tantrum throwing, and she put me in my place, I was able to address why, the root and the core of what I was feeling. I really felt like less than a mother. I felt as if the world was judging me for a decision I had no other choice to make. I felt as if I was being judged. I felt as if I was being ridiculed. I felt as if I made a stupid decision. I felt a lot of things that I wasn't ready to really address. So I ran off with the feeling and I threw a tantrum, and all that time I wasted. But I'm grateful. My therapist was able to put me in my place and let me know what time it is. And I was able to address them, and the healing is right now happening. So for 2022, I want to let go of holding on to feelings that are not facts. And even though I am an emotional woman who wears her emotions on my sleeve, I make no excuses for it, and that is okay. However, I need to do the hard things to address the feeling and not just run off into the sunset with it. That's one thing I would really like. And all of those things. Thank you, Queens, for adding to what I say and basically putting out. I'm a work in progress. I am not there yet, but trust and believe I've been doing the work, and I am proud of me. I am really proud of me. And you guys even educated me a lot more on a lot more things. So gratitude to all of you. And thank you for this, because healing is consistent all the time, every time. And it's really good that we can add to each other and take away from each other. Gratitude. So much gratitude.
All right. Thank you. So, the question I asked earlier, I'm going to bring it back. What are we going to do with these lists after the broadcast is over?
I'm burning mine.
You're burning yours.
Ditto.
I think I'm going to burn mine too.
I mean, burning it with spiritual intent. Like I'm letting it go, and I'm
Yeah.
letting it go that way. And I'm not saying that to say anybody else has to do it. I'm saying that resonates with me as a way to start off 2023 or end 2022 and give spiritual power to the intention that I'm setting with the release that I want to do. And the healing, thank you for that word, MJ, the healing that I want to take place where these suitcase items come into play.
Oh, it's a suitcase. It went from a bag to a
Yeah,
suitcase.
it's a whole suitcase, a whole valise. The old people say a grip, the whole grip. Yes.
Right. I hear you on that. And I agree. I also like to burn things. It is for me a spiritual and a symbolic letting go of things. For me, the burning symbolizes not just the permanence of that thing no longer being there, but I think it's also the fire is cleansing in some ways. And so I like that. And so I am also going to burn this list. Um, what about you, Zin?
Well, I didn't physically write anything down, but I'm a self-reflective type of person, so I make mental notes and rebuttals within myself to be able to remind myself and just really embody it in myself so that I can have a counteraction with myself before I actually move. So I do love the releasing in the way of burning things, but I didn't physically write anything down. And then I know most of what I talked about today is a spiritual development and a mental adjustment. So certain things that I'm going to have to put in place, like different meditations or more self care, I'm gonna have to put in place to be able to solidify what I'm saying into my being.
Yeah, yeah, got you. Okay, parting shots. We're going to wrap up this broadcast. As I said at the beginning, it is the last live broadcast of 2022. Um, for the regular listeners and followers of the live broadcast, I am going to take the month of January off. I'm just letting you know. And so the first live broadcast of the new year will be on the 5th of February. So there will be no lives during the month of January. I will be posting the usual motivational content, but there will be no live broadcasts. We will resume in February. And we are hoping to take 2023 by storm with lots of powerful discussions that are going to continue to build not just this community, but all our communities, right? So that is my parting shot. I will give the other ladies an opportunity to give their what is this the last goodbye. I don't know, but that's my parting shot. I just want to thank you, really, all of you, the ladies who are here with me, and also the listeners and the viewers who have continued to support this platform over the years. um, it has been 5 years and it's incredible and I cannot believe it. And I am amazed at what the Always a Queen, the Metamorphosis platform has turned into. It went from a little Facebook group to this. And it is because of the followers and the supporters. And so I'd also like to take a moment to just say thank you. Thanks for being here, not just in 2022, but you've been here since 2018. Like, who would have thought? Because what? But here we are. And so I want to say thank you. Thank you for the continued support. I am truly deeply grateful for that. And I just want to continue to show up for you in 2023. And like I said, continue to advocate and build community, right? So, yeah, let's get it. Over to the next person. What's your closing shot? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go. So, thank you. I give thanks for the opportunity to be on this panel today. I absolutely love hearing what you all have to say, and I am so grateful that you have this platform for us to speak our truth and have some type of positive influences in our community. So, again, my name is Zinnia, affectionately known as Zen, the organic goddess, CEO of Pink Nectar. So, if y'all are not following me, make sure y'all look for me on Instagram and Facebook, Organic Goddess 26 on Instagram. And I'm a women's wellness coach. I do rites of passage programs, and I also assist women with healing in all aspects of their life, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, sexually, physically, nutritionally.
All the
So,
Lees.
huh? Say that again?
All the Lees.
Yes, right? So again, we're here, I'm here to help women change the way that they approach their health care. So look for me on Instagram, Organic Goddess 26, on Facebook, Organic Goddess, and Pink Nectar is the company. And then, of course, if you want to just Google me, my name is right here on the screen. But peace and blessings to you all. Much love and light to you all. It's always a pleasure and a joy to see your beautiful faces.
And over to Aisha.
Yes. I give thanks, first of all, to you, Therese, and for all that you do with Always a Queen, the Metamorphosis. I am forever grateful for the times that we have shared on this live platform over 2022. I feel like I was on in 2021 too. Is my head playing tricks with me? Because the age thing, right? Like stuff get mumbled. I was in 2021, right?
I think you were on in 2021.
Yes, exactly. It has
Yes.
been a year. I'm grateful for every opportunity that I've had to share because there have been opportunities to connect, to grow, to learn, and to be inspired. I'm always inspired by the other people on the panels that we have. So I'm very grateful. This is the first time that MJ and I have been on the same panel at the same time, I think, and I love it because I love MJ's energy. Every time I see her or hear her, a big old goofy grin is on my face. So today was a blessing for that reason. I've only been in Zin's presence physically the one time, and she really does have a goddess vibe. So it's always an honor to be in her presence. And of course, you, my sister, we are always, always like that. And so being with you for any reason at any point in time, Therese, is a blessing to my spirit. So I give thanks to that. I really give thanks for this topic because it has, excuse me, given me food for thought. Has helped me to connect things that weren't necessarily fully connected before. So I give thanks for this particular broadcast. I give thanks that you're being intentional about taking a break because I'm sure always a queen needs to take some time to rejuvenate and re-up her nectar for 2023. And I want to, as a parting shot, express that I would really love to encourage everybody to use 2023, the energy, the strength, or whatever you have in 2023, to remember that our only to-do list, the only to-do list item that we came to this planet with, is to evolve into our highest and best selves, whatever that means for you, and to do so with an open heart, fearlessly as you can, in an ever evolving state of fearlessness, and know that at the end of the day, if you can say that that is what you're doing, you've done a good job. Blessings to you.
Thank you. And
Gratitude.
finally, MJ.
Gratitude. Um, this year has been one of the most emotional years I've been through in a while. Um, it was one year that I did a lot of growing. Oh, so much growth. I did a lot of deep thinking, deep digging, deep healing. It's been an emotional year for me, but it's been beautiful. I've realized things about myself that I didn't know. I have faced a lot of demons that I've attempted to hide for years. I've said sorry to people that I didn't even expect I would. I said sorry to the children of my father for the trauma that we both put through each other through. I said sorry to him because he deserved an apology. And in turn, I got an apology too. It's been a good year. It's been magical. My beautiful babies live with me. I get to wake up and take them to school. It's been a good year, and I am filled with gratitude. But, Queen and King, be gentle with yourself because where you are now, you were not. You were not 10 minutes ago, 5 years ago, a year ago, 2 seconds ago. Be gentle with yourself. What you are growing through and going through is what you are meant to. And it may be ugly, it may be uncomfortable as hell. But be gentle. Be kind to yourself. You'll get through this. Continue to learn about yourself, continue to love on yourself. Be gentle with yourself. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this platform and I'm grateful for my voice. When I join the conversations, I learn so much, I give so much. And when I just listen to you, Therese, I learn so much and I heal through so much. So I am grateful for you. And the funny thing, how life is a cycle, you used to teach me, right? Right? Yes, she used to teach me.
Thank you, MJ. You just aged me by like a million years. But thank you. Yes, I used to teach
So I didn't put
MJ
your business out there.
in primary
Sorry, day.
school. I'm older than I
Listen.
look, y'all. I'm older than I look.
Yes, sister. Yes, yes. She used to teach me. So the world has cycle, without a doubt. But be gentle with yourself continuously. And thank you. Thank you for not only giving me a platform to cry, apparently, but giving me a platform to reach other kings and queens, giving me a platform to learn and to ground myself. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart to my heart chakra to yours. Gratitude. So much gratitude.
Absolutely. And I have to say, as a follow up to that, that, well, since you put it out there, I've known MJ since she was a little girl, a little girl. And it has been an immense pleasure to watch her turn into this person. And when she says that she has come a long way, she is not exaggerating. It's not a joke, y'all. She really has. And it was phenomenal to watch that evolution happen. Absolutely phenomenal. Um, I think that is probably why I love doing what I do so much because when you watch people just evolve over time.
This
Ooh,
platform also connected me to Aisha, and she has inspired me in a lot of ways too. You know, I'm still growing through some stuff, but she's really let me look at mid midwifery and being a doula in a very different light. I think it is coming to grips with my spirituality, realizing our beautiful bodies can do what it is meant to do by itself. I think she's definitely sparked that flame. That's another thing that fear is holding me back from, but we'll get into that.
You shouldn't have said that because I'm going to be all over you like white on rice now.
So, bye. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. And on that note, folks, thank you, Queens. Gratitude, as MJ would say. Immense gratitude for being here. We're going to wrap this up. I love you all. I love you all in a big, big way. You know this. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you to those persons who have been watching and listening. I love you as well. I send you all love and light. And usually I wrap this broadcast up by saying, be a beautiful week. But I feel like today I need to say, be a beautiful year. 2 more weeks till 2023, kings and queens. It's closing season. Handle your business. Let's be ready. 2023 rolls in, and when January rolls in and that new year hits you, let's be ready to hit the ground running. My prayer is that 2023 will be the best year of your life so far. So far, because there will be more years to come after that. So I'm adding so far. May 2023 be the best year that you have lived so far. That is my declaration. And on that note, be a beautiful year. All right. Bye, everyone. See you in February. Ashe.